Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Worship Tech Tour. In this episode, we are featuring Oceans Unite. They are a church here in Vero Beach, Florida. And what's unique about their context is, of course, I've got a worship center behind me, but as I'm walking out the entrance of the church, we're actually in a mall. Pastor Michael, tell us a little bit more about the story of Oceans Unite and how you guys wound up here.
Yeah, absolutely. So our senior pastor, Pastor Alex Pappas, he's super community driven, and in the early church, it wasn't just a Sunday morning experience, you know, it was a lifestyle.
Yeah.
So being in a mall gives us such a great opportunity for evangelism. I mean, as you can see behind us, we got the church.
Yep.
We've got different classrooms. We've got a kids room.
Yeah.
We've got a daycare.
Yeah.
We've got a playground that's open to the public. We've got a cafe that's open all week long, and people come and go to that all week long. So we're very community oriented so that we can be intentional about relational evangelism.
So first, let's dive into their audio system and let's take a look at the PA. We've got Ricky here with us. Ricky, tell us a little bit more about your role at the church.
Yeah, so my role, when we first started the church, I was the sound guy that came in and just kind of moved along with the church and helped develop the sound and everything. We ended up getting some JBLs up here at the beginning, but they just didn't put out the sound that we needed to the back of the room. And the more we added, it's just the less you could, really hear articulation in the voices and stuff.
Yeah.
So a guy came by and demoed these L-acoustics, and we were like super impressed. These, believe it or not, are a home theater speaker system that fills this church. It's amazing the sound, the quality, and everything that you get out of them. So
yeah, it's really unique. I've never seen, because they're technically, are they line arrays?
Yeah, so these are column arrays.
Okay.
So they
Column
are a J
arrays.
pattern array. So as you be in a J pattern, they are louder in the lower or the upper J, and then they're a little softer in the lower J, so you can get the audio to the back of the room. So
How many can you seat in the room, and approximately how far is that from here to the back of the room?
I want to say boy, they've changed it a little bit, but it's close to 1,000.
Wow.
Somewhere in there, maybe a little over. And at the back of the room, I believe we're about 120 feet.
So I'm impressed. So we just demoed the audio. You guys obviously can't hear it watching, but like what I'm hearing from those two little column arrays, like it's mind blowing. Again, we're about probably 100 feet back here in the room, and the consistency from side to side, front to back in the room it's pretty good. So these are the L-Acoustic Syva, S-Y-V-A speaker.
Yeah.
Cool. And front of house, tell us what you guys are running here.
So this Allen Heath SQ7, it's a great board. It's been really good to us, and we have a SQ5 as well that we'll use for like outdoor events. Yeah, so how we have it, we start with our low end in here. We keep like the groups consistent, so no matter where you're at on what layer, you can still get to those groups.
Oh, got it.
So if you're building or whatever, you can still get to those groups. We have a lot of plugins. So Allen Heath has a lot of really nice plugins for vocals and different compressors. But yeah, so we do our multi-track recording here. We record like some of our own songs that we have for our church. During practice, whatever, we'll do our own recordings here just so it goes out to the rest of the band so they can practice their parts.
Yep.
So it works pretty good for that.
What's this decibel reader you guys have back here?
We got that a long time ago when people were complaining about it being too loud, so we just threw it up here. Yeah, I don't really pay any attention to it. I mix very dynamically, though.
Totally, yeah.
So as the band, as they get more dynamic and they need to go up another level, I'll pull those drums up, pull everything up, the lead guitar, and just dynamically get them to that level.
Yeah.
And then I don't just leave them there. So I don't really get a lot of complaints for sound, even though that thing will go up to 100 on me, and then it comes back down. So there's definitely something to say about, a good dynamic, good loud versus just an irritating loud.
All right, so here's a look from inside the drum closure. So this is a DIY enclosure. So it's got this kind of wood piece on top with some of this wood framing here. And then it looks like two large plexiglass panels and this connection right here between the two panels. You guys know how it can get with drum enclosures. You could easily drop, $20,000 on a premium drum enclosure. Oh, look, there's their GoPro for drum cam. Get a nice deep snare here with some triggers as well. And then it looks like all your musicians are running the ME1 for in-ear monitoring.
All the stations that are, like singers, that people that don't need to move, like drummers and keyboardists, they all get those.
So you've got Roland, RD2000s, and then are they running like another key software on that laptop usually?
Yeah, so they're running some other software here for pads and stuff.
What's this selector right here?
So this is what she uses to talk to the band.
Oh, got it, yeah.
So she sings, and then when she clicks it, she's talking to the band.
Yep.
And then boom.
Got it.
And then this would be more of our synth.
Got it.
Just extra synth stuff.
And then here's all your wireless mics running some just SM58 capsules. At the gear rack for you guys. So here's all those stage pockets come back here to the stage box. You've got storage drawer and power. And then are these the amps down there?
Yeah, so those are the 2 amps. One's for the subs and the other's for the tops.
Got it. All right, so you guys can see we're in the tech booth up here, and they've built this cool little room specifically for their broadcast mix. So they've got the SQ5 back here, some KRK speakers, a TV, probably put the multi-view up there so they can see what's going on.
Yeah, so we tried to isolate the sound as much as we can from front of house because there is going to be a delay.
Yeah.
And so we use this for, broadcasting. We were using it for online before we got our Dante network completely finished. Now we just really use our left-right, whatever. But one thing that this will work well for is if you're doing any kind of training. So you have somebody new to the church, they want to do, some mixing or whatever. You can put them in here, and then you can record their mix.
Oh, cool.
And then you can sit down with them and maybe give them some pointers on, whatever.
So here to tell us more about the lighting system is William. William, what's your role at the church?
Well, I'm actually a missions pastor, but here in Oceans Unite, we are about serving. And when our light tech move to different positions, we talk about ourselves to make our experience with excellence. Our pastor here is all about excellence and how to be gathered to God, even the people watching online. So we decide to take upon ourselves to work on the lights and make our experience better for the viewers online and also for our congregation here.
Yeah, so tell us a little bit more about the process you just went through. I think you guys made some upgrades to the lighting system, and you reached out to Pro Church Lights, who, by the way, sponsored this video. Thanks to Pro Church Lights for doing that. But they have this cool hybrid package where basically you're able to purchase the fixtures from them, but then also get the guidance from them on how to go about designing and installing those fixtures yourself. So tell us kind of why did you have to do a lighting upgrade in the first place? What were some of the needs you were trying to address?
I think that's a very good question, Jake, because what happened with COVID, the church started being watching from home. We were having issues with our lights. Prior lights were managed through Wi-Fi, and sometimes we had those glitches and lights were very poor. And one of the things where our pastor was not very good light on the stage delivering the messages, and we want to deliver the best that we could also for our pastor, the people watching online, to be able to see that. So our pastor decided after prayer that we had to improve the lighting system because most of the people were watching online. And right at the beginning, we were able to, people even from South Africa was watching our live stream. So we started doing some research online. I came about 3 companies. But then we feel peace about Pro Church from the very beginning. They were able to walk us through the process. We send the pictures of our current setup, and they make a mock-up of our church with the new lights, how the church will look like. And I mean, we were very excited. We decided to go with the hybrid package because they were too far away. And, at that time, we only had the finances to build the lightings. But we are volunteers, and Frank, through the phone, and their team, we were able to do all the installation here from home while they were in Zoom conference or phone calls. It was amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, and it saves a ton on costs.
Yes, it saves a lot.
The traditional way is to go through like an integration company and have them send a whole crew out to hang and rig lights. And of course, there's benefits to making sure you have professionals do the job, but you can also have professionals consult you remotely and also make sure that safety and all those guidelines are taken care of to make sure that when you are rigging things, like it's going to be done properly, because we have these light fixtures hanging over where people are going to be standing. So you always got to keep that in mind. Pro Church Lights will walk you through that process and guide you through that.
And I'm telling you guys are worried. It's a very detailed. I mean, they send you a manual 101. Anybody can do it. But even if you have any question, they always, even on the weekends, after hours, there's somebody's always being able to pick the phone for us. Sometimes we were like in the service, in the middle of the service, and we have a glitching problem with the lights that we didn't know what happened. We picked the phone, Pro Church Light. They were able to walk through live the issues that we were going through, and we were able to finish the service without any glitch. So we're very grateful to find Pro Church Lights.
Yeah, so guys, just click the link below this video to visit prochurchlights.com to learn more about that hybrid package, and just reach out to their team today to see if it's going to be a great fit for your church. So we're going to move on and talk about the fixtures here, the Pro Church Lights fixtures that they're using here at Oceans Unite, and then we'll go back to their control setup for the DMX system. And Frank from Pro Church Lights is actually going to walk us through this really cool setup that he just installed for them for controlling light key. So let's go ahead and walk through, William, the lighting fixtures you guys are using here. So you got a really great front wash going on here.
Yes.
We're actually not even on the stage. We're down here in front of the stage. There's plenty of key light, and I imagine you guys strategically wanted to light this area.
That's
for
correct.
probably when people come up for prayers or altar calls and things
Yes.
like that, right?
That's correct. The problem that was like before, we only have like one line now of lights only to the stage. So when our pastor came down to minister, it was a very dark place. So on camera, it was very, very dark, almost invisible. Not even with the best lower light lenses were able to deliver the good light that we need. So one of the recommendations for Pro Church Lights was like, why we don't use a lineup of wash towards the stage and the second lineup to the altar.
Yep.
And I mean, that have worked very awesome. Now like if pastors move down the altar, there's no difference. You can see it light up from whatever side of the building that you are. I mean, it's an amazing.
Yep.
We also have the Zoom Pros on the stage. We have Zoom Pros on the floor, four on the floor, four on the up on the roof. It's a very nice setup for us. We are wall pro bars that give us a nice accents and in the walls. We add later on. We add those like little accents to that, but initially it was even an amazing package. And little by little, we have been increased our package. We have our house set up features. We got like 32 of them, so there's a lot. But the good thing about that is our RGBY also provides some colors about that. It's pretty good.
Again, like a benefit of working with Pro Church Lights is they're also going to take inventory of the current lights you're already using, right?
Yes.
And integrate them into the new design. So not every single light in this room is Pro Church Lights. I think these are some Chauvet fixtures
Yes.
And things like that. But what's cool is over time, as budget works out, you could eventually upgrade those as well. But they're willing to work with what you have. All right, here's a closer look at the Pro bars. So these are great for a wall wash. What is this little setup you guys built here?
This was a setup. Actually, Ricky come up with the idea. You already spoke with him. Every year we try to kind of like refresh our setup. And he found, I think in one of your videos, you mentioned something about that. We got those LED lights from Amazon, and we built our bases ourselves pretty much.
All right, so here's a closer look at the Pro Zooms. So obviously they're moving fixtures. The beam can also, adjust size. It can zoom in or out to be a wider beam or a narrow beam. And then of course it can mix all the colors, look really great. So again, these are Pro Church Lights fixtures, and the benefit is that these are all like direct to church fixtures. So unlike some other lighting brands out there, there's just a lot of kind of middlemen in between the manufacturer and you, where this is cut down significantly with Pro Church Lights. Look at all that front light too when you're up here on stage. It's at the right angle, so like even though these lights are pretty bright, I can still see the congregation really well as a pastor or someone. You're not, if these lights were much lower, then you're going to run into problems. So even with a lower ceiling like what you guys have in here, just getting these lights at the right angle can really prevent people being blinded on stage. So all the displays that we see here are LED panels. This middle center screen is 12 by 8, and then the side panels are 11 by 6.5, and then you guys are sending a feed from Proclaim, right? That's the software you're using?
Yes, we're using Proclaim for our presentation.
Look who we have here. It's Frank from Pro Church Lights.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
You guys saw him in other videos that we've done, Pro Church Lights. He is LD extraordinaire. You're my favorite LD, Frank.
Oh my goodness, thank you so much. So Pro Church Lights, we're big advocates of helping churches, if they have it, like reutilize their existing gear to the fullest capacity. So there's a mixture of some of our supplies added into their existing supplies here. So right here we have their altar wash. We say altar wash because here, this is where the lighting here is dedicated for when pastor decides to walk in front of the front row folks, or potentially even leading altar calls, and prayer ministries meet up there for helping pray for congregants at church here. And it's kind of a mixture. So there's Pro Wash fixtures, and then there's some existing Fresnel fixtures they had that, hey, were in good repair, so we decided to use those for auxiliary fixtures for lighting up their baptismal area and also like their outer wings there. So very important. When you're trying to light multiple areas, you want to try to have dedicated rigging, so that way you can get the best possible angle you can. So there's actually an extra layer dedicated for purely the stage. So I'm actually going to go ahead and raise up our stage wash there, so nice and bright. I'm going to pull down our altar wash here, so you can see how there is 2 layers of front wash happening here. So there's lighting that's dedicated for the floor area, the altar, and then there's lights for the stage. So here, this is our Pro Wash fixtures. They are punchy 200-watt LED Fresnel style fixtures with built-in barn doors. Makes a really nice, just even wash. So this is great because pastor, he likes to be able to preach from the stage, and he'll very organically, if the moment calls for it, go down to the floor to, lead the congregation in prayer or engage people very, very up close and personal. So we have that set up for them. So it's a lot of fluidity, very, very nice wash here. Yeah, and then on their stage floor, we have our Zoom Pro fixtures, which are great. They're punchy, bright LED wash style fixtures. I would call them an equivalent to the Chauvet R1s. They are very similar in how they function. They have a beautiful zoom on them. So here, I can have the fixtures zoom into a 8-degree beam angle there, so nice and tight, or I can also zoom out nice and wide for a nice backlight kind of effect. And then on the top, we also have additional 4 Zoom Pros up there as well. So same fixture, zooming, has some nice color wash built into it, color mixing. So yeah, really awesome fixtures. You can also use them and have them move during different parts of worship here. So great fixtures. We're very excited that we're able to help Oceans Unite utilize them well. So kind of moving on from there, there are some mixtures of some existing RGB fixtures here. So some of these are right here. There's some Chauvet fixtures they have that are installed. So right there, add some extra color to the altar area. So again, going back to my statement about the different layers, there is dedicated altar kick light, and there's also dedicated stage kick light. So again, making sure both areas are getting adequate backlight whenever whoever is leading from the platform on the altar there. Okay, so same deal. So stage kick and altar kick, all right there. Makes a really nice even wash. So Oceans Unite had a really good number of these fixtures, so we were like, yeah, let's go ahead and keep using them if they're in good repair. Wall wash. So there are some wall wash fixtures here as well. So you'll notice our Pro bars, they're actually on the sides of the LED wall there, and they had a little bit extra just wall wash light onto the scenic design pieces. Their DIY LED tape, stage design piece they have there. So really great. Also, like these a lot, these are their existing LED strip light backdrop they created. So these are pretty neat. So these are just the run-of-the-mill LED tape. So they use these to make these cool faux column looks here. So they're made out of different cloth and yeah, just things that you would be able to pick up from Lowe's, Home Depot, Menards, what have you, and LED tape. So really fun. I have them grouped up where I can I'm doing like odds and evens, so I can do like some interesting effects like this, kind of this duotone thing here. Also, I have this set up where, of course, if I want to do a fun symmetrical effect, I love symmetry in programming. So you kind of do some like symmetrical effects like that, like an in and out chase. So there's a lot of really fun things that you can do. From there, they have some extra scenic design lights there as well. Lastly, the thing that I think can really help like shape and help create a space that's good for worship is LED house lights. So here, surprisingly, this is not your typical LED, just variable white house light. This is actually full RGBA mixing house light. So you'll notice here, I can change color, so I can go to a nice red, or I can go to green. These are just some different presets I built out for them, just to give them some options here. So you'll see here some purple. So this can be a really powerful tool for worship when you're able to shift when you're able to shift the color of the lights in the congregation, you're breaking the fourth wall. And the idea is that instead of worship only purely happening on the platform, the entire space becomes a place for worship. Everyone's a part of the worship team at this moment. So we love using color mixing house light for that function.
So LightKey is obviously the main DMX control software for the system, but what's cool is a couple things you're doing. You have the hardware interface with this controller here, and then of course we've got integration with Proclaim. A lot of people I hear asking us all the time, how do I integrate Proclaim with LightKey to automate lighting cues from my slides? Let's start though with this MIDI controller. Tell us what we got going here.
Yeah, so we're using the Akai APC Mini. So this is a very affordable MIDI controller. So this is a newer version of this MIDI controller. Now, the previous version did not have this, but this version does. It has the ability to be able to have interchangeable LED colors on your buttons here. So how I'm using this specifically is I have all of these buttons and these faders mapped to my different parts of my lighting rig here. So here you'll notice that this fader, it is actually correlating to their ultra wash. So here I can use this. So in a moment where, again, like we want to be able to have a good plan when you're operating lights, but then you want to have a little bit of room for spontaneity, just be fluid in the moment. So I see this all the time where people get so stuck in making things cued out where like there's no room, it's rigid. So this is a great kind of in-between method where we have a dedicated service cue list, if you will, where I could operate my lights by simply clicking on these different LED buttons here. Like again, what's beautiful about this version of this Akai is the buttons will correlate to the buttons in LightKey, which is very cool. So here, if I switch over to the Praise 2 cue, the orange button lights up. So here I can add in, at any moment, I can add in these different parts of my lighting rig to add in some more intensity if need be, okay? I also have my haze machine controls here. I have a haze fill setting, meaning this is what I use. This is a dialed in setting for when I want to fill the space with an appropriate level of haze, and then this is a button dedicated for having my haze at a level where it maintains the level without it getting too big and smoggy. Very helpful here. I also have built in my house light control here with some different house light colors here that I can operate simply by doing this. So real cool, just intensity there. Now, again, going back to the fluidity statement I said, something that can be very powerful in worship is, for one, being able to be open to the Holy Spirit's leading. Now, yeah, and just being able to roll with the moment. So here I have some different effect presets programmed in here on these two different columns. So here, if I click on that, I have a slow random dimming effect here. So you'll notice that my lights are now doing a nice dimming effect for praise and worship. And then I have also some different speeds here. Okay, this is all customizable to LightKey, so this is purely just a great starting place for my friends here at Oceans Unite. I also have two handy faders here dedicated. If I want to add in just a little bit of effects during a moment of worship, I can add in these little faders here.
Yeah, and setting this up, it's pretty simple because it's one USB cable to the computer, and then I know LightKey, when you right-click on a Q button, you'll be able to add your external MIDI control. And
Yes.
it's very intuitive process.
What's really amazing to me as a programmer is just how easy it is to get MIDI automation set up on Likey. I've never worked with a software that's been this simple to work with. It's amazing. So for the Akai here, just like Jake was saying, if I want to create a new control option, I go ahead and I can just grab, let's go ahead and grab a brand new cue or a preset. I'm just gonna go ahead and drag that into my live window like so. And if I want to map this here, what I can do is simply right click on my new button, navigate down to external control, and then click on add trigger. And now my MIDI controller is listening, my Likey is listening for a MIDI note to trigger, okay? So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go ahead and map it onto this button right here, and there you go. Easy as that. So what I really love about using the Akai APC Mini is that it's very generous in the different buttons available to it. It has 9 faders to work from, which is great too. What I really love is the fact that Likey allows you to be really fluid and be able to customize this to meet your production needs. So there's not fully a wrong or right way to set this up. The right way is the way that makes the most sense for your ministry.
Okay, so speaking of MIDI automation, let's talk about Proclaim.
Yes.
And kind of some of the process you went to sync
Yes. Okay, so there are several different presentation softwares that are very popular within church world. One is ProPresenter, and another one that's also very popular is Proclaim. So Proclaim is similar process, similar philosophy, now just different method, right? So for this guy here, this is a PC, and then this computer obviously is a Mac. So for one thing, I needed to have a third-party software that would translate the MIDI signal between both machines. So I'm actually using a free software on this machine called RTP MIDI. It's a free software that you can download, and essentially it gives the PC the ability to join a MIDI, basically to be able to connect via MIDI together. So this is like my preferred software. It's very reliable, also it's free, which is a huge plus. From there, I went ahead and I actually have both machines in the same network as well. So to do that, real simple, just a Cat6 cable between both machines here. So that way communication is straightforward, no special IP settings. I'm just using normal DHCP settings for that. Now from Proclaim, what I'm doing here, I need to create MIDI signals, okay, MIDI notes, all right? Now a little different here. For Proclaim, you're able to create MIDI notes per section of your presentation. So there's not a function that I'm aware of, and not in my experience, that allows for specific slide MIDI notes. So for this, I have them set up where for worship, there is, for pre-service, let's say that, pre-service, I have a specific MIDI note configured just for pre-service. So from here, I assigned a specific MIDI note to their pre-service welcome loop. So as soon as I click on this, my Likey scene will fire on via MIDI from Proclaim over to Likey. Now, moving on from there, if I want to jump on into the praise song here, if I click on that, similar to that, I'll jump on into the praise lighting look here from the MIDI note from Proclaim. So pretty cool. In order to add a MIDI note to Proclaim, first of all I need to do is go to the settings option here. I then need to go to lighting in MIDI. And from here, I can go ahead under the lighting MIDI option, I can add a scene. So from here, I'll be able to click on this guy here and give a name. Call this Churchfront. If I can spell it. Cool. And now from here, I click on Add Control. I'm going to choose MIDI. Under MIDI, this is where I want to choose my MIDI session, okay? So on this machine, it's set to Presentation PC via RTP MIDI. So I'm gonna choose that. Now from here, this is where you're gonna wanna make sure that you are doing your due diligence to make sure you're assigning proper notes between machines. So good rule of thumb, try to avoid sending sending notes that potentially might cancel each other out. That could be bad news bears when you're running lights. So I recommend oftentimes making a cheat sheet for yourself, so that way you know which note is always gonna be associated to like your pre-service or for the sermon. If you're gonna be automating everything that way, just try to have a good workflow there. Yeah, it's simple. So very simple here. I assign my notes as I want right there.
So once the scene is created in Proclaim,
Yep.
when you go back to your playlist of items, do you just like link a scene to an item? Is that how you do that?
Yes, exactly. So
Got it.
for this guy here, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna leave it here set up as that. I'll change to channel 10. I'm gonna hit save. Now, and you'll notice here that I have a brand new MIDI note scene here. So what I'll do now is I'm gonna navigate over back to Proclaim and click on the word edit. Okay. And now if I want to add a signal, I go ahead and select my item here. Under signals, I click right there. And now this is where I can drop in my new MIDI note. So if I click on here, lighting, and I'll drop in my new Churchfront MIDI
cool.
note.
Yeah,
Cool?
that's great.
So on top of having, honestly, on top of having these two really powerful ways to control their lights, they also have the PCL wall panel controller system. So this guy here, it's pretty cool. It acts as a way where you can store lighting scenes and then have them be operable from a really cool looking little touchscreen. So this can operate fully independent of the lighting computer being turned on. So a light key, heaven forbid, like if light key decided to take a dive in the middle of the service, like this can operate as a backup system, which is really cool. But the typical use for this is just a really simple way where anyone that's coming into the sanctuary for like devotional time, or pastor wants to come in and he's, maybe he's getting ready for Sunday, or maybe he's officiating a wedding or a funeral and just needs to be able to get lights on, turned on without any, big fuss. He can really simply just click on these different presets here that can be stored. Now, this touchscreen here is set up in the tech booth, so that way it's super simple. What's really cool about this item we have here is you can actually daisy chain multiples of these touchscreens and have them ran in different locations in your sanctuary. So you could have one in your tech booth, you could have one installed permanently in a wall near a door. You could have, again, if you want to, be a little on the safer side, you could also put on front of it like a bubble cover there as well to help avoid like accidental like elbows happening there. So very, very slick little tool, like works great in many, many applications.
All right, to give you guys perspective, we are in the tech booth here, and we're gonna talk about their broadcast video setup. Oh, hey Dylan, how's it going?
Hey.
And when we're talking about broadcast video and you're wondering what type of switcher is being used, you just gotta listen for the leaf blower sound that's coming from the Blackmagic video switcher. So here I see you guys got a 4ME Broadcast Studio 4K. So that's a pretty beefy switching system. Walk us through kind of your workstation over here.
So as you can see, we have this like awesome board. As we only using 2 MEs. We about 5 cameras. We have like 2 angle cameras, 1 wide shot from the very back, and then we have a roaming camera 3, plus the 2 computers and the overlay. This is the actually board where our director would choose the shot for our live streaming. This is right here is our pretty much like a viewer for our live stream software. We use Studio Go Live from Vimeo. And from this, we are able to send our feed to like as many platforms as you can. Right now, we send it to 3 different ones, broadcast in Facebook, YouTube, and also on our OUTV platform.
This is like running on is this a PC or a Mac that's running here?
Well, this one is it looks like a gaming PC, but it's like homemade.
Okay, got it, yeah.
We bought the parts and actually our guys before me put it together. So that is very, very
So
fast.
that has a video capture card for the pulling your ME
really,
from the ATEM.
Yes.
And that's what then gets encoded for Vimeo.
Yes.
Right there. Got
and
it.
the sound, we have a dedicated network for Dante. So our Dante network is separated from our other networks.
Yep.
Come from the SQ7 from the sound booth.
Yep.
And we have it running straight to our live stream. That way we got the best sound
So
quality.
that computer is on Dante.
Yes, it's
Yep.
on Dante.
So let's dive into the camera system. You guys are running all Blackmagic?
Yes, right now we are running Blackmagic systems. We have 4K Pocket Cinema. We have one that we use for our mobile setup with a Teradek system. And we have 1, 2, 3 more Pocket Cinemas that are steady cams. In the very back of the sanctuary, we use Ursa, the G12, and with the Fujinon lenses. That lens is an animal. Can go from the very back of the sanctuary, it's about 150, 170 feet, 120 feet to the front, and I can see the eyeballs of my pastor if I want to. So, as I mentioned, we have the Tilta handles package, which is coming with all this nice setup for extra equipment. We have the Teradek Bolt 4K LT750. We have transmitted midway into the sanctuary and have it reached about 300 feet or so for us. I've worked with no problem. The good thing about this, I can fix the frequency that we work with, and it won't compromise the microphone's frequencies. It work, you can leave it working in flexible frequencies or fixed frequencies. We definitely work at a fixed frequency, which is work perfect for us. We have this little monitor, which make it easier because we have this beefy Pocket V battery right in front of the display, and when we do low shots, it's always nice to be able to move the high shots to move the display to the position that we want to. So this is like, it's very basic, but it do the job for us. We have a motorized zoom. We use a 35-100 lens Lumix, and do the job for us.
Just to give you guys an idea, so it's a 7 to 170 lens. So here's how wide it's getting, and then look at how far I can zoom in. That's quite nice. I need one of those lenses. I don't know for what. I like this. Again, you guys are not compromising on the thing that actually needs to be good. Like back here, having a proper lens, broadcast lens to get that far throw. But again, these Blackmagic cameras are amazing. So we've got the Blackmagic viewfinder here. You've got the Ursa G2 4K, and then you've got this 7 to 170 broadcast lens. So this is definitely my ideal setup for a broadcast follow camera that's going to be way back in the back of the room. You need to zoom in on worship leaders, pastor who's preaching, and then of course having just a great zoom lens like this, especially when you have great lighting, you're not going to compromise any of that video quality zooming in there. Important thing I want to highlight for folks asking about how they build platforms for their camera setups. Make sure you have a separate platform for your tripod and camera than for the person who's operating it. You can see this is a separate platform, so when they kind of move around, it's not going to be vibrating the platform that's on the tripod. So what do we got here?
So this one is another Pocket 4 Cinema. This one is with the actually Lumix Olympus. This is an Olympus 40 to 150. Give us a nice, pretty medium wide shot into a medium telephoto into the stage. We can get nice shots from the station here, the band, but also the congregation. The camera is also a Pocket 4 Cinema, which we spoke a little bit about this with the mobile system. And we have a Benro nice tripod, which is nice, have a nice fluid head and move nice, smooth to follow pastor back and forth, come back in place. So it's not like most jerking, we inexperienced volunteers. It's easy to work and to learn for everybody.
Well, that wraps up this episode of Worship Tech Tour. A big thanks to Oceans Unite Christian Center for having us, and a big thanks to Pro Church Lights for sponsoring this video. Go ahead and check out prochurchlights.com and reach out about their hybrid package if you'd like to undergo that same lighting upgrade and renovation project that you saw here in this video. Please share this video with your friends, and we'll see you guys next time. Hey, look what we have here. Are you recording? Okay.